doing our first project. And now that we know how all of our assignments are going to go, we're going to start off with an idea board. You're going to do something in your black book, and then you're going to finish by putting something on your digital portfolio with your reflection. So let's get into our first project. And where we're going to find this is under content. And we're still working in the creative process unit. So we're looking at, how people make a piece of art and all the steps that go into it. Now, this one is a little bit different because this one is different than our creative process graphic that we looked at before, where there's all these different stages about planning. This one, there is no planning, which just proves that there's more than one way to create art. This one, the process is really important. And you're going to think it's a little weird, but I think that you're going to like it. So what we're doing is, under the Creative Process unit, our first project is going to be Neurographic Portrait. So I'm going to introduce you to what neurographic art is, and then we're going to end up making our own neurographic portrait. And this is going to be awesome. We're going to trace it in case that you're freaking out about having to draw a person, so don't stress about it. Okay, so the lesson is here. So I just want to start off talking about what is neurographic art and what am I talking about. So the PowerPoint's here, and of course this video will be uploaded here when I'm done recording it. So for our project, let's just have a look and see what this is. And this is a relatively new type of art, and it's something that we wouldn't normally do in this class. But I thought, just sort of with the circumstances, I thought we could use something that's a little bit sort of stress-free, and I hope that you like this. So it is a little strange, and I want you to give it a shot, and I think that you'll really like it. So neurographic art. So neural and graphic. Neuro, it's talking about, is referring to the scientific term of the cells in your brain that carry messages between your brain and other parts of your body. So your neurons, okay? And then graphic, it's just images and that artists use. So we're talking about sort of like the brain and art. So we're getting into some deep stuff here. So sometimes people call it neuro art or neurographica. Now, this is really important. It's the process of creating this that is the most interesting part in this art, as opposed to the finished product. This is actually a form of art therapy that is relatively new. If this is something that you really enjoy and are really interested in, this could be a career path for you. What I like about neurographic art, you can use any materials. Everybody can do it. It's really straightforward. It's easy to explain, and the results are actually very cool. So this is a stress-free introduction for our class. Okay. Now, this has been around since about 2014, so really not that long ago. So for about 6 years. And it was actually created by a Russian psychologist, and his name was Pavel Piskarov, and he invented this way of working, and the idea behind it, so stay with me here, this is where you think I'm a little crazy, is that working in a type of way, this way to create art is going to give us direct access to like different parts in our brain that we normally don't access. So, and it accesses our inner self and our inner feelings. I know, kind of weird, okay? But trust me, it is kind of relaxing. And in this way you can communicate through your art, but not through talking, not verbally. So you can share your emotions sort of this way. And it's combining science and psychology and with art. So if we want to get into the sort of the science behind it, is that in our brain, we have these neurons that sort of are working around in our brain, right? And we only use certain parts of our brain, and we only use a certain percentage of our brain. Now, working in this way to create neurographic art, what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to allow us to engage more parts of our brain, or more neurons are kind of going on that we necessarily don't control, but will reveal other stuff to us. So we're working in a way unconsciously, which means that we're kind of letting the art kind of create itself. we're letting the drawing is going to guide itself. And that way we are, instead of trying to control the drawing, so that way we are tapping into different parts of our brain. Okay, kind of weird, right? And the art that it ends up making, which is an example here on the bottom, this is an example of what neurographic art looks like. It actually looks very similar to the neural networks that are, if we took images of the actual brain and how it was working, right? It looks a lot like atoms. It looks a lot like molecules. So it looks very scientific, actually, in the end result. It also, some people say it actually looks a lot like the universe, right? So all of these sort of things it sort of taps into. Okay, so it is a little weird, I know. But the whole point of making neurographic art, of making images like this, is that it's therapeutic to create. It's like meditating. It's really relaxing. And in fact, and the reason why I chose it, because I think we could really use that right now. And there's been, a lot of people seem to want an art to do this for them. Because art could be really stressful. I said to you, okay, I need you to draw a realistic portrait of yourself. Go. It could be quite stressful for you. This one, it's not. It just kind of evolves on its own, and there's not one way to do it. It doesn't have to be look a particular way. It sort of just happens how it happens. And there's this huge sort of thing that's come in the past few years, but these coloring books, adult coloring books even, just people are so stressed out. And it's just like having these coloring books and how relaxing it is just to sit there and just to color stuff in, right? So, that's the whole point of this. So above and beyond that, it's also to, when we finish it, we look back on it and we look at how our outer world, the chaos of our outer world sort of shapes, what's going on the inside and how we're feeling. So, but ideally, the biggest purpose of neurographic art is to transform this chaos and the fear and the stress that we have into something that's more calming and peaceful. So that's the point of it. This is how the Russian psychologist is sort of uses art as a therapy to kind of relax people, is what it comes down to. Okay? In neurographic art, they use basic shapes, and the three basic shapes that they use are circles and squares and triangles. We are just going to focus on circles for ours, and then they use this type of line, and it's called a neurographic line. It's a wavy line, but it doesn't have waves like exact pattern, so it's just a randomized wavy line. But what's really important with this line, there's no sharp edges, and we'll talk more about that after. Okay, neurographic art can be abstract, like some of the things I've been showing you, but they also can be figurative, like faces or people or animals or anything. Okay, now this type of art has become really popular, actually, and it's got a huge social media presence, and you can actually take courses and become a certified neurographic instructor, and you can teach your own courses. It's very much like attending a yoga class or something, that you can actually attend these different classes, of course, virtually right now on a regular basis, because it is sort of a relaxing kind of meditating thing. It's just that it's art, right? And people actually share, the pieces that they do and what they learned about themselves through doing this type of art. So this is something that's actually really huge on social media. We're going to give this a shot, because it is a really nice, relaxing kind of art to do, and I think it would be really neat to try. It's something I think we need to do right now. So, but you're going to think I'm weird, but just give this a chance, and I think that you'll really like it. So next we're going to look at how sort of the history of science and psychology and how that relates to art, and sort of the history of it the past 100 years. Okay, see you in the next lesson.